Hi, this is Derek from TCI, and in this video we're going to be installing a very small network. Let me show you what we're working with today. This office has only a couple of small workstations. I've been asked by the IT company to install Cat6 cables layered on top of the old network that you can see here in preparation for their fiber upgrade and their workstation improvements that they plan to do. They don't need me to install any router, firewall, or anything fancy. I'm just here to lay new cables. They're going to go right here in this cabinet. In such a small space, there's really nowhere I can install a proper rack. So they've authorized me to knock out these shelves and remove these doors right here in this cabinet. And this is where all of the new equipment will go. Let us begin. My first order of business will be to take the doors off, remove these hinges, and get rid of the shelves, and then remove the center divider of this cabinet. Let me go get my tools. So here are the tools that I bring to a job of this size. I bring at least one box of cable. In a small office like this, I can length it out repeatedly, so I'd only need one box here, not 6 or 7. I got my general toolbox here. This has got screws, flashlights, drill bits, all that good stuff, stud finder. Nothing specifically network related there. I've got the big drill. This is for putting holes in the plywood. And I've got the little drill, and that's just for screwing down faceplates and stuff. I got my fluke tester. I've got my runpo just in case something doesn't work out with one of those conduits, my labeler, and then this is my work pouch that has everything that I use for my standard Cat6 terminations. So there's screwdriver, punch down tool, all-in-one crimp tool, wire stripper, etc., voltage checker, little mini flashlight, all the basics that I like to have on my hip when I'm working. It's quite a bit of junk to haul, so it took me 2 or 3 trips, but when you're working alone, it's not so bad. You may not need all of this stuff when you're doing your own. Let's keep working. I'm using my small drill to remove the screws that are holding the doors in place. With those gone, I'll remove the shelves, and then, to tackle the center divider, I ended up using my hammer to loosen the glue, and then a sawzall to cut through the dowels, as it was a little too difficult to do by hand. With that out of the way, here's the cleared cabinet that I'm going to be installing in. For those of you who have seen my other videos, you know that I don't like jagged holes in ceilings or walls. So what I'm going to do for this particular office, because the wire count is so small, 8 or less, I'm going to drill a hole in the top cap with a uni-bit. With that done, I will then drill a matching hole in the back of the plywood of this cabinet. That way, the cables can be fed directly through to the rear of the rack, and you won't see any of this drooping down from the ceiling. I've passed a small wire through so that I can use it as a pull string once I'm done running all the cables. Before I begin running cables, I pulled aside a colleague to assist me with installing the rack here in the cabinet. The first thing I'm going to do is sink a single screw. Then I lift the rack up and just sort of hook it on the left side so that the screw is holding the weight of the rack. My colleague will then stabilize the rack, which will help me level it out, and then I will secure it once it is level with additional screws. I make sure to use washers so that it sticks securely. I also made sure to locate my studs and the cleat holding up the back of this cabinet so that things would be extra strong. With the rack out of the way, let's take a look at the locations where I need to install Cat6. We've got some faceplates underneath of this counter, and looking at these, there is some existing cable present. When you have an outlet in the wall that is composed of a J-box like this, there is usually a hard conduit in the ceiling above. So let me show you what it looks like in the ceiling immediately above this countertop. You can see here that there is a conduit for each faceplate that is below the countertop, and there are cables in it already. I'm going to use these in order to tape on my new Cat6 and pull them down all the way below the counter so that I can terminate a proper faceplate. Each of the workstations shown here require a new Cat6 cable. So once I've counted them all up, I'm going to get my box of Cat6 and I'm going to begin to length out sections of cable, chopping them and labeling them so that I know which is which, and then I will pull them all at once. It's no good to pull these things over and over and over again from a single box. If you've got the space, run them out of the box and length them out, making sure you've got ample space for any screw-ups. Just in case there's a mistake, you'll be glad you're longer rather than shorter. Once I've got all of my cables lengthed out, I tape them together. Then I tape them to my fishing rod. This rod is extendable, so I can pass it all the way back to where the rack will be. Once I've extended it to its maximum length and I've reached the rack, I move myself over there, get on my ladder, reach up, grab the extending pole, and then bring it down, collapsing it as I go until I've got the cables in my hand. With all of the cables brought to my rack, my next task is to begin distributing them to the available faceplates. If there's no faceplate, I will cut a fresh one myself. But I lucked out in this particular office. Everything has a conduit and everything has a J-box that I can reuse. So I'll start with this one here. You'll see that there's already a cable in here, except it is dead. So this cable shall become my pull string. Once I have my Cat6 through to the J-box, I'm a big fan of terminating things immediately. I don't like leaving a lot of work for later, and it hardly slows me down to take care of this right away. That way, when I get to the last faceplate and I terminate it, I will be completely done with this front area. There won't be a need to come back here, switch tool bags, etc. I feel like that slows me down. Once I've got my wires through to their faceplate, I will Velcro a service loop up above. If I make a mistake with my faceplate during termination, I can unroll this loop and pull down a little bit more slack. So, just in case of mistakes, this will be up here waiting to save me. Let's take another look back here in the ceiling. You can see that I lengthed out all my cables, ran them all together, and brought them to the rack. However, in the ceiling immediately above the workstations, one thing that you might want to address is not letting the cables droop in the ceiling. So what I will do is Velcro them to the nearest threaded rod supports that are in the ceiling holding up the fire sprinklers. It's not necessarily to code to do this. Sometimes you need to install your own cable supports. But if you don't have any, the safest thing to use is a threaded rod, and make sure you stay above all of the fixtures that the threaded rod is supporting. With that first plate out of the way, I'm going to focus on the next one. So this one here under the counter, I'm going to go up into the ceiling, and first thing I'm going to do is cut these dead wires and remove them from the conduit to create space for the Cat6 cables that I would like to place there. I have a fair amount of experience in this job, and I recognize that these are DB9 connectors. However, I can't imagine what sort of network these used to be connected to. One thing's for sure, they're dead. Into the trash they go. With that space cleared, the original installers have left me a nylon string. That's that yellow one right here in the shot. I'm going to tape my Cat6 cables onto that and then use the string to pull them down. Here we go. With these Cat6 now at the faceplate, I'm going to terminate them right away, same as I did for the other one. Then, I have to keep in mind a couple of things. One, there are existing cables here and an existing network that I need to keep operational. So I will not be removing the old Cat5. That's something the IT team is going to be doing when they arrive. You might have noticed that there's no screw holes on this J-box. That is because the drywall mud is covering them. So I'm going to use my jab saw, extend it, scratch away the mud, and reveal the screw holes so that I can secure this faceplate correctly. Also, the J-box that is in this wall is very deep. The little screws that come with this faceplate don't fit it. I went down to the hardware store and bought much longer screws. With this, I can secure the faceplate to the J-box firmly. With the faceplate secured, it's now time to go back into the ceiling. I have two goals here, to create a service loop and not to let anything droop along the ceiling tiles. So I'm going to Velcro my loop, and then I'm going to lift up the rest of the slack of the cable so that it is above the ceiling tiles and supported by the ceiling hangers. There's one more faceplate up front for me to do, but I'm just going to speed through it because the process is identical to what I've done for the other two. Before I start on the back of house and finish up the rack, there is one item up front that needs to be addressed. There is a wireless access point in the ceiling that we're going to modernize. First, I'll remove the old electronics. Then, I'll convert this modular plug into a permanent link. Lastly, I'll leave it hanging so that the IT guys can't miss it. When they arrive with the new electronics, they can just mount it to the ceiling. Now let's turn our attention back to the rack so that we can finish it. What I plan to do first is bring all of the wires that I ran to this location through that hole that I drilled earlier in the video. So I'll tape them all on to that little short stretch of cable that I ran through the hole initially, and then, before I pull everything through and risk slicing them to ribbons on this razor sharp metal, I'll pop a grommet in there to smooth the way. Next, I'll confirm that all of my labels made it through intact, and then I'll use my wire stripper to strip each one of these, revealing the conductors inside. Then, I'll attach all of my jacks to these wires. Hey friends, this is the switch that I was given. It is ridiculously large for this application. There are way too many ports, but I'm going to try to use this to my advantage. So if you look here, ports line up on the right hand side of the patch panel and not so much on the left hand side. So what I plan to do is load the panel starting from this end. That way I can use the short 6-inch patch cords and we don't need a cable manager. So let's try that out. I like to mount the patch panel at the top of my rack most of the time. I'll pop the jacks into the pre-assigned ports that I've measured out. And then, as I've mentioned earlier in the video, I don't like jagged holes, and this counts. So I'm going to put a grommet around this in order to make this hole look a little neater. This is only possible when there are so few cables. In the ceiling, I'll again make a service loop with all of my wires, keeping everything off the ceiling tiles. Now that I'm done there, I'll close it all up so that I can mount the switch. With the switch in place, I will just use the 6-inch patch cords to make this as minimal as I can. No wire manager, nothing long, the least you need. Here's what the rack is shaping up to look like. I'm just about done here. The IT company does not need me to do anything further, except for the most important step, which is this. Break out your tester and check every single jack to make sure it tests green. The last thing I thought I would show you is the firewall. I'm not supposed to install this, but it has an interesting feature that I thought was worth showing. When you plug it into your switch, it doesn't need a power cord because it gets all of its juice from PoE. Pretty neat. All right, well, that's the end of this video. As you can see, there's a lot more to do, but the IT team is going to take care of it. I'm just here to run the wires like always. You probably noticed that I did not unplug any of their old networks. So this stuff here is just layered on top of the old network. The IT team will begin the transition of the computers. Whoop. All these computers and phones and such will get rearranged, replaced, but in the meantime, they're still operational just like they've always been. So I'm going to wrap it up there. It's been nice having you guys with me. Hope you learned something. I got a lot more of these to do, so I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.